All right. Hi, everyone. I'd really like to thank you all for coming on this Sunday morning to be with us on Talking Tech with the PEC ACM's third episode. Talking Tech with PEC ACM is PEC ACM's new venture where we bring on people from a lot of various places who are very proficient in their fields and are really good at their fields. And we talk with them on a live video podcast and they share their experiences in their own fields and give advice to our audience. So for this podcast today, we have a really special guest who is a friend of mine from our Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador community. So before introducing him to everyone, I feel that perhaps all of us have played video games at some times in our lives. After all, there is something beautifully creative, imaginative, and amazing about video games that draws us towards them. Also, a lot of us must have thought at one point in our lives as to how video games are really made. For a good part of the audience watching this, most might be into fields related to computer science or coding. And they genuinely must have felt at some time, how are video games actually made? What does it take to build those stunning graphics and bring such realism to computer code that engages a huge amount of people and their emotions with it? So, well, a guest for today does just that. Ishan Vohra is a third year IT undergraduate at Maharaja Surajmal Institute of Technology, Delhi, and he is a professional game developer. Ishan is an Android SD intern at Halanx, which is an AI powered tenant scoring and insurance platform, a Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador, an Incubate IND Fellow, founder of his web and app development based startup Corp, and finally, the game development mentor for International Organization of Software Developers. So, welcome Ishan to this podcast of ours. It feels like a really huge thing. I'm really humbled and honored to um, talk with you here. So,
I find the experience likewise, Ishan. Thank you for having me. It's a huge honor.
it's great. It's really great. So, Ishan, let's just kick off this. Let's start this interview podcast, right? So,
Sure.
now when you see such a great profile, and especially game development, which is such a cool thing, you have a lot of questions, and for the audience as well, you can feel free to just write in the comment section whatever you want to. If you have any questions for Ishan, Ishan's Twitter and LinkedIn handles are in the description below, so feel free to check them out and follow him and connect with him on those platforms. So now let's start with your first question, Ishan. So you're just 19 and you're already an entrepreneur, an SD intern, and moreover a game developer. You're the winner of SIH, which is Smart India Hackathon 2020, and frankly speaking, you do have an intense profile. Now, that prompts the simple question, Ishan. How did you, and actually, when did you get into game and Android development?
Oof, okay. So we are going to do a little bit of flashback, all right? So it's 10th standard. The year is 2015, and suddenly, like out of nowhere, I'm searching how to make apps. So there was this platform called MIT App Inventor at that time. I think it's still around. And what you do is you arrange blocks of code, and then you get the output on your Android phone. So that's somewhere I started with like app, and and then more questions arrived in my mind, like, okay, what about games? Can I create games? So there was this software called 3D Rad. It's like in kilobytes or like 1 or 2 megabytes, and I downloaded it. Uh, and I created a racing game, which I then distributed among my friends in school. And we actually got a little bit of scolding because students were playing those in the computer lab during classes. But so that's where it started. I am not sure what, like Mark Zuckerberg was a huge inspiration, and people like Bill Gates and Steve Wozniak are some of the pioneers that I used to read about, and there were like posters and their famous quotes. And computers and games have been one of the things that that have made, like last 15 to 16 years on the planet Earth of mine, really happy and engaging. So games are the sort of things that I most connect with, because they I can just run my imagination freely and create something. So that's like back in 2015. That's basically when it started, and I created like small apps and games just by using MIT App Inventor or softwares like 3D RAD.
This is so good. I mean, just starting out of interest, and that is something that I guess a lot of people should follow. Just go into the field for interest. Like you want to do something like this, and just try it out. You don't figure out the conclusion, just try it out. You never know how big that thing becomes. For example, we have a professional game developer 5 years after that. So that is like a pretty inspiring thing, Ishan. So let
Thank
us
you.
start with the all right. So community aspect, shall we? The so Ishan, what does community mean to you? What communities or developer circles have you been a part of, and what does it mean to you in general?
Oof, that's a toughie. Communities are like support groups, right? So in movies, in foreign movies, they sometimes show a group of people who are there to support each other. They share their problems, they share their happiness. So for me, I always thought of different communities, not only tech, but I remember my first community was when my school was selected for adult tinkering labs out of like 1,000 different schools, and only 200 got the grant to build an IoT lab, and our project was one of them. I was hugely honored, and it was surreal. I never thought that a shy person, like a shy student like me, because I didn't speak a lot, it was really kind of a big deal that I could pull something off like that. And I also had a really good team. So when that happened, so that was my first community, the adult tinkering, like other schools, and communicating with other teachers, other school teachers and students. And I always thought of it as a place of, like, I'll share my problem and someone will give a solution, or at least find a way for me to find the solution. And that's what the Microsoft Loan Student Ambassador, the IOSD community, the Incubate community. Because if I see a problem, I will definitely Google about it. If I don't know, try to help the other person, or if I know something, I'll tell them right away. And if I have something, it kind of resonates, right?
All right.
So for me, it's like a support group where everyone is there to support each other.
All right, that is a pretty important point. So you feel that this community aspect should be an integral part of anyone pursuing any field related to computer science or in general as well. So it should be an integral
Um,
part, right?
Right. So, okay. So I'm a mentor, and what I usually do is I use analogies. So behind you is a book called *Sapiens*. Human beings are primates, and primates have been, evolved to live in groups. We need the community support. So when I'm sitting in my family and when I'm sad, my parents and my siblings will come to comfort me. That's what a community does. So when I have a problem in tech, or just in general, there is something that I'm stuck with, and it is something that I can ask and go to help for that community. And it's not just tech. The other day we were discussing about the end SARS movement in Nigeria, the police brutality in different parts of the world. So um, that's basically what it means. Like there is a community, and where you feel safe, and where you make others feel safe to express their emotions, to express their feelings.
Basically, the most important thing that you need to do is communicate, and you do that in a
Right.
community. You can communicate with and let things out, right?
Yes, exactly.
All right, so this is a really important point. So, along with our tech-related things, we also went a bit philosophical. So that is really great, Sean. Now, tell us something about Incubate IND. Now, I have seen that platform a couple of times. I've also applied for fellowship, and I'm a current fellow. But So, what do you think is this fellowship program? What is it exactly, and how has it impacted you? Because this is quite a big thing, the incubator thing.
Okay, so this was something that I applied for randomly, and I didn't know what to expect because Incubate is basically the name describes it. They incubate startups, they organize hackathons, and they're just there for the community. Their whole goal is that, and they keep organizing big workshops from big players from Amazon, Microsoft. They have people and they give workshops on AI, and after being involved in that, they're just not into tech. They're talking about other things as well. It has been a good opportunity to not just um, be talking about technology all the time. It's good to be talking about what other things have been going around in the world, right? So marketing, personal branding, and basically everyone owns a personal brand. If you have an Instagram account, that is your personal brand. How do you grow it? So that's what I learned from Incubate Andy. The community is very, very generous. Um, People are humble. If someone organizes an event, we all support it, just like in our student ambassadors community. When an alpha member or a beta member or even a gold member organizes something, we all come together, we support them. So yeah, Incubated is the fellowship has really impacted me to care about not just tech but other aspects of the industry as well.
All right, this is really great. So, how can people apply for this, or how can they approach this fellowship?
Okay, so you can go to incubatein.com and you can click on the fellowship tab. It will provide you all the information that you need. They don't require a very high techy background. All you need to do is just tell them how inspired you are to contribute into the community.
All right, pretty good. I guess a lot of audience that is watching this and later on will also watch this will also apply for this, considering this is a good opportunity to be a part of a community which is larger than you in general. So
Right.
now, Ishan, a commonality that we share is the Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador program, and well, you are perhaps the only game developer that I know in the whole community. Um,
Okay, someone prove him wrong, please. I need more game developers in the student ambassador community to comment in the chat.
All right, all right. Okay, so any game developers out there, if you just watch this, do comment on the chat. Like there need to be more than that. Game development is such a cool thing. So, Ishan, so what does the program mean to you, and how has the student ambassador community impacted you and helped you? How has this totally helped you?
Okay, so when I applied for student ambassador community, I did not have much expectations, and I applied it because when I opened LinkedIn one time in October, and there were all these posts about how they are admitted to this program and how they're going to contribute and events and whatnot. So I went to the website, I saw the form, I took my time, I applied to it. 3 months later, I'm in, and I'm like, okay, now what? Now I need to do a learning path. So I knew nothing about Azure because I was always using like Google services because they're intuitive, they're really intuitive, and let's be honest, Google is really good at marketing their services. Okay, so I did not know anything about Azure, and I when I started learning, so I did machine learning. There was a crash course on that, and I did basics of Azure, Office 365, and so just in general, I learned a lot about Microsoft ecosystem and why students should care about that. And then I organized my first workshop, and that was the moment I realized that this is how it feels to be a community leader uh, at my campus. Um, so I hope I'm not the only game developer. I have been like more focused on game development because that's what I'm pushing. I have been pushing game development since 2018 because it's such an amazing field, and I don't see a lot of good resources like good workshops. So I'm just pushing on that behalf because like student ambassador deserves some good game developing, content as well. And in general, the community has been really receiving. Like they people hear out my problems. People like you, people like Ekansh Gupta, who was there to help organize my first workshop. Um, there is Shreya Prasad, Salman Makizan, Aditya. There are a lot of people. I think I won't be able to name all of them, but the community in general is really positive, and that's not forced positivity like on YouTube. Like you have to say something positive. It's the whole vibe is really good.
It feels great to be a part of something larger than you and something greater than you,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
All right. This is a pretty good thing. So again, Ishan, so what if people want to pursue getting into the student ambassador community, what kind of advice would you give them? How do they apply or how do they go about it?
Okay, so first of all, I'd like them to just introspect themselves and see what they're good at before applying to this program, because that will dictate a big part of your application. Because first of all, they ask you, okay, how do you plan to contribute in this community? What would be your steps like in planning a workshop? So you have to think about it. You have to strategize, and just don't write something. Just don't copy paste other people's answers. Be unique, be your own self, because that's what makes a community a big such a success, because everyone is bringing something different to the table, and then we all come together in this big piece of machinery. Every part has a different function. So just be yourself, and you can reach out to various student ambassadors like Nishant. You can reach out to me. Just type LinkedIn on LinkedIn student Microsoft student ambassadors, and you'll see a million profiles. Reach out to them. They're all very receiving. I haven't met one rude student ambassador up until now.
Great. That is a really important thing. That is like an actual thing about the whole community, that everyone is so welcoming because they all know what they've started with their initial days, and they've reached a certain level, and they know what kind of impact others created in their lives, and they have that feeling of creating that impact in the juniors' lives or the people who come after them as well. Yeah.
Right.
So. That's a pretty good point. All right, so Ishan, now moving to another aspect of your profile, tell us about IOSD, the International Organization for Software Developers. So, what is it all about, and how did you join it?
Okay, so International Organization of Software Developers is a really big organization actually now. So we were like my college, MSIT was the 22nd chapter, and they were already in 21st DTU. They were in NSUT, Bharatiya Vidyapeeth, and they were on a lot of different colleges. Um, and what appealed to me was how they were able to pull off big events. Um, so there was Global Innovation Festival that they used to organize. It hasn't been a thing since past 1 year or so because of some issues. They have huge festival of hackathons where each chapter holds a different hackathon. So it's a month full of hackathons. That's really amazing, and it's always feels good to participate in a hackathon as well as being able to organize one. Uh, the director Krishna Rai. If you're a new member, if you don't know anything about about the community that you have just joined, you can just text him and he'll reply in a second. So that's how I learned. So what happened was how I became uh, like a big member, like a contributing member in this organization. Was I used to text my seniors all the time. So I was in game development. I applied for mentoring in game development, and I texted Krishna sir that okay, I am a mentor now. What do I do? and he said, "Okay, you have SIGs." I said, "I have, but there are not a lot of students." So there was a big meetup, and all the people were elder than me. I was the first year student. I was like, um, it's like it was very overwhelming. And there is Saksham and Krishna, and they both talked to me, like the director Krishna sir. He talked to me that, "Okay, Shan, you need to develop a game project." And I was like, "Yo, I mean," and I built my first project for IOSD. It's called Night Star. It's a 2D platformer game where there is a ninja running and fighting other ninjas and avoiding obstacles, collecting mushrooms, and that's what kickstarted my enthusiasm in game development even further, because I was drifting apart. I wasn't seeing tangible results, but this was something, so I stuck with it, right? So like the conversation we were having before, when I like something, I try random things, and when something is that I like and is giving me a little bit of success, I stick with it for a while. So game development really started making sense. People were praising the project that I did. Students were reaching out from not only my chapter but different chapters that, um, okay, so you created this project, maybe help us build something. I created a whole project, a whole tutorial series, um, for IOSG that's on their portal. So it's a little bit of exclusive membership. You have to pay like a piece to join it, but the end results is really good. They have worked with Delhi Police and whatnot. Like that was my first community, and that's what prepared me for Microsoft Loan Student Ambassador, Incubate, and like other great things.
This is like really inspiring. So from just an interest into games, like just a curiosity and imaginative aspect of games, you went on to build an actual thing that is being used by a society to get people to learn game development. So this is like a really huge thing. So that is quite an inspiration for a lot of people who feel that how do I start or is this good enough? So just start with it. You never know how big it is going to be if you love it and you're passionate about it. Am I right, Ishan?
Right.
All right.
Exactly.
So yeah. So Ishan, you are a game dev mentor there, right? So what is it like to be a mentor of
Yeah.
such a versatile and a creative field, and what impact do you create as a mentor? Like, so this is a really versatile and imaginative and creative field. What is it like to be a mentor there?
It's really amazing because you always have to challenge yourself to do something crazy enough so that students will get inspired. I am always trying to do experiments with stuff like motion capture. So it's a technology where you do something and the computer captures your body's movements, your facial expressions, and I try to apply that on a 3D model. I experiment with that. I experiment with photorealism. So it means like I'll create something in my computer that will look real, but it's actually not. It's interacting with the light the same way it will react in real world. So being a mentor at IOSG, being able to communicate with a lot of different students, helping their problems, helping them build their projects is actually a really good experience. Um, and it and it keeps me on my feet, because there are times when you teach something to someone and they come back with twice the effort that you made, and they now know way more than you told them. So now you have to get a level up higher so that you could impart that knowledge to them, right? I hope I'm making sense.
I guess this is
So
a
it's
pretty
always
important, right? Yeah, I get it.
this is like um, yeah. So this is what keeps me on my feet, and it's a really amazing thing to be part of.
That's so amazing. I mean, PEC ACM would love to call you upon for game development workshops because I guess there'll be a lot of people interested in that. And if you're considering something like that, that is something we could discuss later on. So
Yeah, sure.
now moving on to your another aspect. Now it's like every time we have a podcast, we have you with such diverse profiles, and yours is also so amazing. Like there are so many aspects to it and so many tiers to it. There's community, then there's entrepreneurship, and then there's your core field. So now I'll move on to the entrepreneurial aspect because again we have a good amount of people who will watch this or are watching this. Um, who at some point have had the thought of going into entrepreneurship or having their own startup. So, from someone who's done this for quite a while now, you've been the founder of the Indie Corp for over 4.5 years now. So, you'd be able to give some good guidance as to how do you approach something like this. So, my question to you, Ishan, is first of all, what is the Indie Corp? What do you do? And what kind of roles are you looking for, or do you have any available internships? So, let's go over this first, and let's keep on rolling this segment of
Okay.
entrepreneurship.
So so the IndieCorp is a web and app development firm. We build applications and websites and softwares for startups, who are looking to outsource their work. We are working for small businesses to help build them. We are working with, artists, young people, to give their social media profile or like even creating their web portfolio to look amazing. So the whole, like, whenever I do something, I ask myself if this is going to add value to what we already have. And there are a lot of freelancers and freelancing services out there, but some of them are really cheap, but the customer service is really bad, and some of them are really costly. So what I did, I created a specific service for people who don't want to spend much, but also want to get their money worth for what they're spending it on. So I created this small organization. We had like 5 people in the core team in beginning, and till the end we have only two, me and one other co-founder. Um, so we built this organization. We hired a bunch of people, and we worked with a lot of organizations in these 4 years. So we have built a lot of products in very reasonable prices, and we have seen tangible results. Like after we have created their product, designed their UI, or like changed their outlook on social media profile, or even created someone's portfolio for like an artist, they have seen a huge improvement in their business in general, and that's what I aim to do. I wanted to provide value, and that's what we did. So the indie corp, indie means independent, and the whole point of organization was help others be independent and help their feet off the ground. We did offer internships. We used to have a summer internship program that used to run for 3 months, and we have had four internship drives up until now. Um, I decided to take a break from it because I think I don't have the current knowledge or the skill set required for it. So I have taken a pause on this. The company is still going though, but I have taken a leave from there. I haven't exited. I have just pressed pause on the CEO mode. So yeah, there might be internships. So there are Android development. There are cross-platform app development. So that is Flutter. We have web development internship in Mean and Moon Stack. Um, we have social media, marketing and social media, sales, and content creation. So these are some of the fields that we provide internship.
All right, pretty good. I guess this is a really important aspect to take time to figure out, and these internships are going on. So if someone wants to contact or apply for them, how do they go about it?
Okay, so if you want to get hired, the easiest thing for you to do is to heat at us, because me and the other guy is always active on Twitter. If you want an internship, just any time of the year, tweet at us, send us your profile. We look at your profile. We have teams working on projects all the time, and if your profile seem fits, we'll put you on a project. And we have like a training come internship program thing where we also, if you like have 50% or 40% of the knowledge, the other team will mentor you, or like we have mentors who'll have weekly sessions, and they'll help you reach from 40 to at least 50 or 60% so that you can contribute to the project that you have been put on.
Right. That is pretty interesting. So if anyone is willing to do this, you could reach out to Ishan on the Twitter handle
Yeah.
provided below, and you could also reach out to him on LinkedIn. So that is something like really great. So Ishan, again, when we go over this entrepreneurial aspect of your profile, pieces of advice that you'd like to give to budding entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs, people aspiring to do so. So you've had 4 years of experience, and you've been through ups and downs, and you've experienced being the CEO and just taking a break. So you've experienced the whole thing, I feel, or to some part, a good part of
Okay.
the whole thing. So what is your advice for them?
Okay. Um, okay. So if you're starting your own thing, make sure that you have other people on board. You have a good team. So one of the things that I used to fail consecutively in the first 2 years was build a good team. Have two or even three people with you, and please, for God's sake, don't everyone be from the tech background. Or if you are from tech background, be open to learn marketing, be open to learn sales, be open to learn them and then automate them. Use tech to your advantage. What happens usually is techie people create a product and they pitch it out, and because they lack a bit of pitching skills, the marketing skills, they lose in the long term. They'll see good results in the short term because they have a good product, but um, to put it in Hindi, उस चीज को बेचने का यू नो पॉइंट नहीं बन रहा कोई, because they don't have marketing skills. You need to sell it. No matter how good your product is, the marketing should be good. So make a good team. uh, Pick people who you will take a bullet for. So the trust is a key component. Team is the most important part. Second, take risks. Look, if you're 20, if you're under 25, 26, you are young as heck. Take risks, and even if you fail, you have your whole life ahead of you to learn from it and do better next time. And startup, being able to create something, starting up from the scratch, is almost like parenting. You have to nurture it for a while before you see tangible results, right? You have to wait for them to take their first step, to say their first word. So it will be 4 months, 5 months, even years before you could see a return in revenue. So keep your head down, stay focused, build a good team, have trust, and take risks.
All right, these are really important pieces of advice for entrepreneurship and in general for someone approaching any type of career. So, and this is really great. Thank you for giving this piece of advice, Ishan. This is really important. All right. So now, Ishan, I'd like to move to another important aspect that related to hackathons only. So people who are seeing this or later watch this, there is something called a Smart India Hackathon. And in 2020, recently only, Ishan and his team was a winner of this huge hackathon. And that is a huge thing. That is a great thing to add to your profile. So, Ishan, I'd like to ask you. First of all, what is it about? And you said that there is a particular theme in which you won. So, first of all, tell us about it. What is this Smart India Hackathon?
Okay, so Smart India Hackathon is an organization, is a hackathon organized by the government of India. So it's the largest model of hackathon ever implemented in the whole world. So in a way, it's the biggest hackathon. So what government of India does is send out invites to various organizations. They'll send out to Wipro, ISRO, government of Bihar, different governments, state governments, government of education, etc., etc. So we have all these different institutes. They'll send out problem statements that they face in their respective, fields. So Ministry of Education might ask for a learning solution for people who can't see very well, right? Government of Bihar, the one that we took on, gave us to create a solution so that we could, help organize and automate the whole agriculture aspect. It was a very specific problem, and we were taking data set from ISRO. ISRO issues a bunch of problem statements in the space in the field of space technology, etc. So now, and every problem statement has one winner, right? So that's that's the base of it. Now, your college authorities will organize a local hackathon where you can form a team with your friends, pick a problem statement, and you can pen down your idea. You can create a small presentation. It don't have to be a fully furnished one, and you can present it in your local college hackathon. And then your college authorities, if they liked it, if they picked it up and chose to go with it, they'll send your problem statement and your idea, and they'll submit it. Then you have to wait for a while, and if it gets approved, congratulations, you're in the finals. So it's not a bit of a very difficult process. It's very easy. You just need to reach out to your college authorities, submit your idea and your presentation, and then wait for a while. If you get selected, you'll be notified by a mail. And so our problem statement has 4 finalists. Some of the ISRO ones had 10 finalists, so that varies a bit. And at the end, you'll present it over the course of 3 days. You'll develop your product, you'll do research, you'll create presentations, give presentations, and at the end, there is one winner in each problem state.
And so you went for that particular theme and particular
Yeah,
state, right? All right.
yes.
This is a really big thing. So Ishan, now tell me something. So you just told how to apply for it. So the basic procedure, as you said, would be to just approach your college authorities if that is right, or are there any other sources or where you need to gather
Okay.
information from before you approach?
As far as I know, it is actually compulsory for a lot of colleges to organize these local hackathons that ultimately lead to Smart India Hackathon. So you can just reach out to your head of the department, and they'll direct you.
All right.
That's what we did. That's what we did. We reached out to our senior teachers, our directors, uh, and the people who take care of these kind of things. And they directed us that they said that okay, develop your idea, send, give your presentation, and if you liked it, we'll submit it. And they submitted it, and the whole thing, uh, carried forward. Just reach out to your head of the department or the teacher, and they'll direct you in the direction that you need to go.
Right, right. That is an important part, I feel. So, Ishan, if you'd like to go over, like, what was your project all about? So, can you tell us about, if you can, to what extent can you tell us about your project or problem
Okay,
statement?
so I might not be able to go into the details because I'm not sure what the instructions are on that. I'll just say that our project was on agriculture, and we were using technologies like artificial intelligence and cloud services.
All right,
So,
all right,
so what we did was like we just enabled various people like authorities, etc., to maximize the output of the crop that farmers grow. Okay, so we built stuff on that, and the challenges that you might run into is implementing something that you don't know about. So I remember me and one of my teammates stayed up till 3 a.m. learning Flask micro framework to implement APIs for our machine learning model that we created, and it was really fun. And the biggest lesson that I have taken from that is building a team with every person bringing something different. So we had one person for data science and data, cleaning, and the one person who is really good with data. We had one person who is really good and a good understanding of machine learning in general. We had a good team leader who kept the morale up and used to keep track of things, what's going where, and when we have to pivot from something. We had two Android developers, one me, and there was another guy. We had one web developer. So we had platform developers, we had machine learning people, and we had a good tutor. And
Right.
that's what basically drove us in a very specific direction. And we created targets for us. So the developers were given targets. We decided that okay, so these are the days when we'll decide the UI. So we created our whole user interface in those days and completed that target. And uh, thanks to COVID, we got a lot of time to communicate well enough in these tough times. And it
Right.
got delayed a bit. So yeah, build a team that has all the different components in it. And if you are not able to find that, be flexible enough to learn it. Don't waste your time on quarreling over small things. If someone makes a mistake, learn from that mistake. Tell that person, uh, like, be rational rather than being childish about it and fighting. Because I have seen a lot of fights in hackathons, and not like sometimes it happens in our team as well, where you disagree, and you just have to pick, you know, uh, what suits the best for that situation. So be analytical. That's probably the lessons that I took away from Smarting the Hackathon.
This is really important. Like even in a hackathon, you need to keep communicating to actually develop something on time, so that there are no conflict of views. There will be
Right.
conflict of views, but you need to navigate through them to reach the actual product. Right. So being a part of hackathon, so how would you guide people to even start hackathons? I know you've covered the basics, so if you'd like to put it concretely, how would you advise people to go about hackathons? How do they start? What are the team requirements, or what are the skill requirements for being in a hackathon?
Okay, so there are different kind of hackathons. So if there is like a hackathon being organized in your own college for other students as well from other colleges, and it's a 24-hour hackathon, you should have like a good user interface guy. You should have good presentation skills. These are the two most important things. The functionality comes later. If you're able to implement it, kudos to you. If you don't, just try to make it seem like you have implemented it, right? Because okay, let's be honest, you cannot create a whole product in 24 hours. Make something that works, looks good, and present it in a very good way. Communicate to the judges in the language they'll understand, and be simple as possible. Be as simple as possible. What issues, what things that some teams do wrong is they get too deep into the tech. They'll start explaining their neural networks and their blockchain algorithms, and the judge is there and sitting like, and he's like, he has no preparation for this kind of stuff whatsoever. He is thinking like, okay, I cannot learn this in 5 minutes, so I don't understand it. Maybe our product is bad.
Uh,
That's what it conveys. So be clear in what you're saying. Be as simple as possible while explaining your product. And yeah, pick a team, pick people, like pick friends. Or if you're like new to tech, if you're like first year students or sophomores who don't have a lot of experience in the field or with any of the technologies, assign one person to learn machine learning. Like
correct.
if one person is interested in learning machine learning, they can do that. Learn something so that you can contribute, right? So it all comes down to your personal preference on what you want to learn, what you want to create. I think the best way of getting a good good hackathon and getting good hackathon experience tips is participating in one. Go to devfolio.co, go to HackerRank, go to HackerEarth, apply for a hackathon, participate in it, take your college buddies and participate in a hackathon, and just have fun with it. Like build something, and and you'll start learning. You'll get the hang of it, right?
Right, pretty important point. Like, so the most important piece of advice to appear in a hackathon or participate in a hackathon is to actually do participate in a hackathon. So there's no written set of rules. You just need to participate in the hackathon first of all, right?
Right.
All right. So, Ishan, now let us move on to perhaps one of the most exciting and probably the most thrilling aspects of your profile. Now, there are some amazing and inspiring aspects, but this is the so-called or what you view as the cool one. All right. So, let's move on to game development. You said how did you start game development? So, it is a really cool field, in fact. So, what is your passion behind it? You said you started into it, but at this stage, or as Ishan Vohra, the person, the game developer, has developed himself, what has been your passion or your driving force behind being a game developer?
Like I said earlier, it helps me relax. So a good solution for relaxation that I have developed in the past couple of weeks is I do a weekly live stream at the end of the week where I just sit back and relax, and there are people in the live stream hanging out, and we're trying to create a scene from a sci-fi, or we're just trying to create something on Unreal Engine. So in the last live stream, I was able to create like a sci-fi scene from a spaceship, and that was pretty cool. And all of that was created in just 1 hour 30 minutes. So it was really fun. And at the end of the live stream, the reaction, the surprise that I have on my face that okay, we made this in 1.5 hours is actually legitimate. The thrilling aspects of game development for me are like mainly two things these days, because these are the things that I have seen constantly being developed since past 1 year, and they have just gotten better and better. So one is motion capture again, and the second part is photorealism. So there is this website and there is this company called Megascan, Quixel. So Quixel is the company, and Megascan Library is one of their products. And what they have done is they have created a huge library of assets from various textures to various plants, rocks, water, even etc. And they have taken pictures of those things and created 3D model of that. So when you import something from their library on your game, it's as if you have taken a rock and put it in your game from real life. So these are the two things that have really impressed me, and what I try to do with my animation movies, like animated movies that I sometimes create, is keep them as real as possible, keep the environment as real as possible. I might share something at the end of the live stream if we have some time left. Um,
Definitely. Definitely. So, yeah, that you on your YouTube channel. So, guys, Ishan also has a YouTube channel where he does his live streams and his live showcases of what he's built or what he's building or what he's working on. So, the two of the most famous currently are Ishan made a horror game, and Ishan also simulated the whole Spider-Man parkour environment where he has this whole scene where Spider-Man is doing parkour and other types of swinging stuff and all. So those are pretty great things. So Ishan, before we go into the live showcase, an important aspect for people who want to start game development. Now, game development is really cool, but so what does it take to be in a field like this? That is one question. And secondly, what are the career opportunities in this? How does someone go into this? And if someone wants to just start as a hobby, but later on wants to go into a career like this, so what are the opportunities there?
um, okay, so the opportunities in this particular field, especially for student developers and independent developers, have advanced a lot. For student developers, there is a program, and also if you're starting your own gaming studio, there is a program from Xbox called IT at Xbox, for which my horror game was selected. So what they do is they'll review your game, they'll send you free Xbox to test your game on, and they'll help you put your game on Xbox for free. Everything that's I've said is for free, and it's really amazing how companies like Sony, Xbox, EA, Ubisoft, and other games are supporting. Uh, Also, Epic Games is a really big voice for independent developers. So Epic Games has started an Epic Mega Grant, so they give grants for up to $25,000 to, if you have a something, if you have a crazy idea about a movie that you want to make, or if you want to make a game or a tool that you want to develop for 3D developers, you can apply for that grant and you can get a grant for about
Ishan, I hope you can hear me. I guess you've
Okay, so am I audible now?
yeah, yeah, you're audible now. Now it's better. So if you could just go over that part once again, which you mentioned
Am I
regarding the
audible?
scholarship. Yes, yes, yeah, yes, I can hear you,
Okay,
Ishan.
so
Yeah.
yeah, I think there is a problem at my end. I am receiving your voice a bit late.
All right. No,
Okay,
no
so
issues.
I shall I start over?
Sure, sure. From the part from this part, the grant.
Okay, so they gave up to the Epic Mega Grants gave grants for up to $25,000. If you have a cool idea about a game, any game, like even if it's an inspiration from another game, you give out your budget. Okay, these are the components and I need for my project, and these are the prices for it, and you can just apply for it, and they'll if they like your idea, they'll send you a grant, and the limit is $25,000. So that's a lot of money. And
Pretty
there
much.
are companies who are hiring student developers actively in India. So there is EA, there is Zatun, so Zatun. This is a really good game development studio. There is EA in India. There is Activision. Epic Games is hiring actively in India region. So you can apply for all these. Applying for these game development jobs, before that you need to create some projects, and for creating projects you need to acquire some skills. So
All
how can
right.
you go about it? You can go to YouTube, uh, see what platform you want to work on. So there is Unity, Unreal Engine, there is Cry Engine, which is paid, I guess. There is Godot, then there is Blender. So there are a bunch of tools. Pick and choose what you like, right? Go a bunch of videos, do a thorough research. Don't be hasty. I think a big problem with our generation and students these days is they want quick results, right? They'll watch a 6 minute video and they want a big return after watching that 6 minute video. So take your time, research, and if you like Unreal Engine or if you like Unity, stick with it. Take a course, browse through YouTube videos, learn skills, start creating projects, and after a certain amount of time, you will have a good portfolio where you have 4 or 5 good games, and one or two of them are on Play Store or are on Windows or anywhere that people can find and play. Start applying to companies, and things will work out for you.
All right, pretty important point. So I guess that clears it out for a lot of people who want to just start into game development. I guess we also need to have one of the sessions one of these days where you come and just talk specifically about game development, just go over the basics as to and start people in and just take a session on that. So that would be great.
I I'd be happy to do that.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So Ishan, before we move on to the questions from the YouTube chat, I'd really like you to showcase some of your work that you have handy, some of your renders, some of your games, and you've been working on, and tell us about them. So if you could just share your screen and show
Sure,
it to everyone.
sure. So I think we can take one or two questions from the chat so that it gives me a little bit of time to load that project.
All right. So there's so I'd open the question for everyone in the chat before Ishan opens up his software and his equipments for the game. There's this question by Amrit, who is the chair at our PEC ACM chapter, and who is basically the reason everything like this is set up. So thanks to him for that. So Amrit has this question like. As a game dev, what's Ishan's preference, PC or console, and which one has a lower barrier of entry?
Okay, so if you're like if you're just about gaming and enjoy good games and don't have a lot of interest in creating a game, I think console is a really good thing right now. Just buy a $300 or like 30,000 rupees Xbox Series S or a PlayStation 5. Uh, like the prices are reasonable right now. Just if you're someone who loves gaming uh, and have like 0 to 10% interest in making one, maybe like, invest in a console. And if you're someone who are interested in creating a game, invest in a good PC. Uh, Save a bit. You don't need a powerful PC, like a hi-fi, like supercomputer level. Like, वैसी जरूरत नहीं है. Just build a reasonable one and start building out projects. I think aim for I guess mobile community first these days because mobile gaming is at an all-time high, and then maybe look on to consoles and PC. I would not rate them one above the other. They are both at the same level. As a game developer, you should see the same. But at the end of the day, it's your preference. Like some people say consoles are better, some people say PC is better. My personal preference is computers, playing games on PCs. But some people might say that consoles are better. So I don't want to start a rumble here. As a developer, you should give all the platforms the same significance, and then aim as because if you're creating a Mario game, or like if you're creating something that is portable, so aiming for Nintendo Switch or other portable console is good, right? um,
Right.
then you have a different requirement. So think about what your idea is actually and who might enjoy it, and then narrow down your market.
All right, right. I guess this is a really important piece of advice for someone who's stepped into the field and has basic development knowledge and wants to now specialize in it, I guess.
Right.
So, another question, Ishan, from Amrit is that what is your take on the ongoing epic Apple fiasco? If you want to go with that, what is your
Okay.
take on it?
So I would love some controversy. Epic is basically pushing forward the idea that developers should get um, what they're actually worth. So if you take 30% of the revenue, so if I'm earning 100 rupees and you take away 30 of mine, I am just left with 70, which seems like a lot, but if you see the bigger picture, I am losing a lot of money. And at the end of the day, the state of the game developers is not really good. um, because Apple is taking a lot. Because if you're aiming for just iOS, you're going to suffer because your ultimate revenue is going to take a huge cut. And not just game developers, any kind of developer is going to suffer, right? So they're trying to implement, they're pushing forward that um, all developers should get what they're actually worth. Don't take away 30%. That's not reasonable. So Steam takes away 30%, right? They do that, which is completely like that's not good. Ubisoft takes a lot. Origin Store takes a lot. But what Epic Game Store actually does is they take 5% of it only when, or like the 12% of it only when your game earns more than $1 million. And they do sales like they'll give two games free every month or every 15 days, any random game. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to uplift the gaming community, the gamers as well as developers. I think I will tend to the Epic side, uh, because they're making the case of developers, and I like an organization who, stand for the people who are working so hard for them. And Apple is trying to get a lot of money, because let's agree on the fact that they are earning a lot from this. Okay, so I
All
think
right.
my project is sorted, and I am
Okay,
ready to
great.
showcase
So
this.
I hope that answers the question in the audience. If you have any questions, please feel free to write it in the comments. Now, Ishan will be going over some of his renders and showcasing them. So, Ishan, just take it from here.
Okay, so I hope you can see.
Yeah, yeah, we
I,
can see your screen. I'll just
okay,
pin
so
it in this one.
this is basically a forest that I created a couple of days. I posted it on LinkedIn as well. So there is a small wooden temple with like a Japanese statue and other things. There is a vessel where coal is burning, and there is a small stream. And the most like the thing that I love about the scene a lot is the light coming from the sun, and you can actually see the light rays.
All right, this is this is actually really good to watch. This is so real. I mean,
And you can actually like see the water flowing from the little water pump.
they like literally made all of this. That's
Um,
amazing.
Basically, what I did was I used again Megascan library. I used a lot of
Mhm.
it, and the best, you can have a lot of components in your scene and don't know how to put it, and you'll end up with something that nobody likes. So the key is compositing. Like compositing means putting together your elements and organizing, and having your lighting proper. So in this case, if you see, if I go, so you can see the god rays. So that's what my main point was, to have like a scene where where you can enjoy these god rays falling. And the composition of the whole scene came really good. So the qualities of the trees, I modeled some of it. So the whole temple I created, and there were parts of landscape. So the whole landscape, except the grass and flowers, I created. And then it's all about putting things together. So Unreal Engine really makes, easy for any developer to create something if you're not good at 3D modeling, because you can just use assets that they provide for free. So if you're a developer from Unity or any other, Megascan library will cost you a certain amount of money. But if you're a developer on Unreal Engine, all the assets are free for you, and you
Right,
can just
and this is so impressive. I mean, this is so amazing and fantastic to look at, Ishan. This is so real. I mean, the best part is the lighting and the whole thing about this. Um, we are also getting a lot of we are also getting some good comments in the chat, as Sahajbir mentioned. Very impressive. So thank you for that, Sahajbir. This is actually really impressive. So
um,
another,
if we have time for one more project.
we could just go over one more. We could just go over one more if you want to
Okay,
showcase
so we
one more.
have other questions as well.
I just checked the chat. I not right now. We don't have any question right now. So
Okay.
if again, if anyone has any question in the chat or wants to say anything to Ishan, just please do. We'll just go over one last showcase, and that will be it for the day, Ishan. It's one more showcase.
Okay, so this is what I was able to create in a live stream. where um, so this scene was created in about 1 hour and 30 minutes,
Right.
basically showcasing a corridor. Wow, the camera speed is way too much. Um, so this is the scene
All right.
that we were able to create.
This is so, this is so, I mean, this actually looks like one of those scenes from a movie. I don't even have words.
Yeah.
I was just saying this is so realistic actually. I actually saw that stream and it was pretty impressive to see how you built all of this from scratch, using various elements from your whole toolkit, and that was amazing to see. So, if you could just go over the basics, like what is this all about? How have you integrated things and all?
So first of all, what I did was I started with the architecture. So I added different, floor tiles. So we have one, two, three, four, and then I added these little bumps in between,
All right.
to have little bit of detail in the flooring. Then our main challenge was to create this, wall which has this thing sticking out of it, and then making the whole wall glowing actually. So what I did was I created a blueprint, basically an actor blueprint, and I started putting blocks together. And so we have two pieces of wind up and down. We have a main core wall, and then we have this thing sticking out of it, which is emitting
Okay.
light. So you can see we have rectilinear sources of light,
All right.
and we end up with this kind of thing.
And which looks so realistic and like from a movie and all, right? This is great,
Yeah,
man.
that was the aim, and I was so happy that we were able to achieve something of of that magnitude.
This is amazing. I mean, this looks like one of the scenes of a game that I'd like to be a part, play and be a part of. Like while playing, I want to see something like this, so realistic and interact with this. And you're getting a lot of praise, a good amount of praise from the chat as well. Like this is, as Jasmine said, this is really amazing. So thank you for that. This is actually really amazing.
So I think I can stop sharing the screen now.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So, Ishan, if you just turn on your video, perhaps, is that okay?
Um, I
If it's
think
working.
yeah. Okay. So my camera died. That's what caused
Oh,
the issue earlier.
okay, okay. And no issues, man. So, now we're approaching the end of this live stream. So just for some final pieces of audience for the final pieces of advice for the audience. Sorry, I misspoke that. For final pieces of advice for the audience, Ishan, that you'd like to give before you leave, some important tips or important learnings that you'd like to give to them.
Be kind. Uh, everyone, is having a really hard time in this 2020, and um, just have compassion and be kind. Okay. Uh, a lot of good things are happening in tech industry right now. Like I guess tech is one of the most positive uh, like things that have happened throughout 2020 because we had so many cool things. LG came out with a swiveling phone, which becomes a T-shaped like thing. So that was really cool. Again, be kind and again, like keep trying different things, and if you get a little bit of success in something, stick with it for a while. And
Yeah,
yeah, don't
right.
take everything too seriously. Enjoy the life.
More importantly, yes, definitely. So again, Ishan, thank you so much for being on this live stream. This has been an actually really amazing experience to talk with you, to discuss tech with you, which is the aim of Talking Tech, and to see your showcases, to see them live, to and we aim to have another of sessions where you just focus on game development and rendering and animations and also that would also be great. So again, I'd like to thank everyone in the chat and also the viewers of this. So for being here on a Sunday afternoon. And thank you so much for just being here and appreciating our content. If you like our content and you like our live streams, we also have a lot of content coming up, workshops and showcases or whatnot. So this is really exciting. I mean, PEC ACM is really good, taking things further and taking steps forward to just be great in tech. So thank you so much. And if you like a content, again, hit the like button or subscribe to our channel. We'd really like if you subscribe to our channel. That is a lot of support for us. That means so much to every one of us. So again, thank you so much. Thank you, Ishan, for being here. And all the best for your journey ahead, buddy. Keep going, keep excelling, and
Yeah.
that is it for today. Thank you again, and see you on the next episode of Talking Tech with PEC ACM. Bye bye.